Write a quick list of everything that you've achieved this year so far that you feel really enthused about. You feel proud. You think it's cool. You did something well. Think about that and write a list and just feel really, it helps you feel really resourceful. Those are things you can be grateful for that gives you that sense of gratitude from something in the past.
Hey everybody, Jeff here. Before we get started, if you're getting value from the podcast, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening on podcast apps, don't forget to rate and review. Your support really helps the show reach more people, and for that, I am truly grateful. Now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes.
Hello and welcome to The Point. It is an exciting day to be here. Today, you get to dive deep into the concept of gratitude, and not just everyday thoughts around what gratitude is, but really leveraging and amplifying the results of gratitude and ensuring that you're getting absolutely the most return for your efforts, with the idea that if you write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day for 30 days, that there will be a positive chemical change in your mind, in your brain, that you will be able to feel a different level of emotional resourcefulness. You'll feel better in 30 days and have a noted chemical change in your brain chemistry that has you feeling happier, more productive, and more fulfilled. We started looking at these other concepts that were being brought into the world and also studied, along with the idea of what some people are studying when they're brain mapping what happens when you feel gratitude for a future result after it's already happened. So it's sitting down and visualizing and imagining gratitude for the result you want now in the future. So you're imagining the result in the future, and then you're imagining what it feels like to be grateful for having achieved that result. Now, this has actually been utilized in studies of how to combat the things that were thought of as terminal illnesses like cancer, where they've been able to map the brain and understand what's happening in the body and in the neural pathways and physiologically what's happening with an individual when they execute on a level of gratitude in this way, that what happens is you have that physical reaction of reversing the disease. So I sometimes will be found saying that it's proving the concept of what has been studied in metaphysics for years, or the miraculous healings that doctors say, wow, you're a miracle. I don't know how this happened, but you're just a miracle that I took these pictures and you had these things then and now you don't. So staying away from the technical side of it and staying out of that part of the conversation, I want to brill this, but bringing it up for point of reference. Think now of yourself in the mode of wanting to maximize gratitude because there's such a benefit to increasing your sense of emotional resourcefulness. If you're able to increase your sense of resourcefulness, that also increases your ability to get things done and feel accomplished and put more on your plate. What at some point feels really busy could feel like no activity when you're at your highest, most effective emotional state. We took the idea of gratitude and started putting new data points to it. The idea of how to maximize something is just to increase the data points. So I stuck with 3 things. Now, we have worksheets in our practices and in our coaching programs, and that are available throughout the entire organization, are these gratitude worksheets that can be easily adopted. You can do this in Word. You can create your own. You can use tables. There's so many tools that you can use to just create this, including asking AI to do it for you. But the idea is to have a practice that, in this case, just starts with the 3 things a day. But it's not so much about having 3 things a day you're grateful for. It's about how you use those 3 things throughout the day, or access those 3 things throughout the day, so that you gain extra data points and extra touch points in yourself, whether it's touching, tasting, feeling, sensing, seeing, all of everything you can. You want to add as many touch points as possible. So on these gratitude sheets, and we can send these to you if you like, just let us know, put in their, gratitude sheets and we'll bring it to you. We call it Gratitude of Champions. And I always say in the very top, it's nice to put some really nice quote, but by some really nice person. And that really is to put anything you want in the top that feels inspirational to you. But if you're not using the sheet, you may have a daily practice where you have a daily prayer or a daily thought, or we create the base repeatables that you've heard us talk about. If you want to dig more into base repeatables, just again, put in base repeatables in the comments and we'll get back to you and talk about that. And again, we're in the conversation. If you're following episode to episode and you're going through this process with us with this mid-year check-in, you've really looked at all of the results of things that you've done throughout the year. So last week you wrote a list. So if you haven't written this list yet and you're joining for the first time or you haven't been here for a while, go ahead and start now. You can pause this and start now and write a quick list of everything that you've achieved this year so far that you feel really enthused about. You feel proud. You think it's cool. You did something well. Think about that and write a list and just feel really, it helps you feel really resourceful. Those are things you can be grateful for that gives you that sense of gratitude from something in the past. And then we're thinking about the goals of how you want to anchor them of anything that's left to complete this year. We're mid-year, so you may be halfway on your goals. There may be a few goals that you haven't quite made it yet. But what if one of your goals was to get 5 new clients this year and you're at 1 and you need 4 more to make it? Can you still hit 4 in the next 5 months? Now, these are the questions that we start asking. Will you feel gratitude for the one you have? You feel gratitude for other things? Increase your feelings of gratitude. And then you can use this gratitude sheet and then you can start putting things in it. This may seem odd to you. What does a goal have to do with being on a gratitude sheet? Well, the reason is that you want a goal so that you can then also begin to bring gratitude around that goal. So the first thing we write down is a goal, and this is a daily checklist. So we write a goal for the day. Realize this can be leveraged into week, month, year, lifetime, and this practice can be utilized in many different ways. But when we practice something on the daily, you will naturally move it over into other parts of your life as it becomes a natural way of doing things. In this case, write a goal for the day and then write down the 3 things that you're grateful for. Now, this is how you start the day. Think about that goal now. Some of you set the goal the night before. You already know what you were going to accomplish, what you wanted to accomplish today. You woke up thinking about it. You went to bed thinking about the best way to accomplish it. Now you're in the mode of it already. Now you have it written down, write down the 3 things you're grateful for. The next thing that you want to do is add touch points of how you're going to express that gratitude throughout the day. Whatever it is that you're feeling grateful for now, how will you express that throughout the day? And just write down 3 ideas of how you will express it. The next is to write down the one person. So you will tell blank, who's that person, something specific you're grateful for. So the idea, that's how we wrote it on the sheet, but the idea is to then have a way to share what you're grateful for or share gratitude with someone else and having a specific plan of who that will be so that you can use that intentionally and gain more ground from it. Now that's added at least 6 new touch points to the idea of having 3 things you're grateful for, and you haven't spent really much any additional time in doing this, unless it's just taken you a minute to write it down. But really, if you do this, you're not spending any additional time. You're just adding a couple of pieces to it, which can happen in your thoughts and in how you imagine it. Now, as you go throughout the day, you're going to notice things, especially since you're carrying it forward into expressions. The next piece of that, as it comes closer to the end of the day or even the evening, is to write down 3 unexpected things that happened to you this day. Like sit down and just, and if you're watching for them, and if you're watching for these 3 things that are unexpected while you're expressing gratitude and looking for ways to express gratitude, it's kind of like using the left foot yes model where every time when you're walking, every time your left foot hits the ground, you say the word yes in your mind. There's science to that where it activates the right side of your brain, your creativity opens. There's just a world of good that happens from doing this. So it's very similar to that in that you're paying forward this idea of gratitude into how you're expressing it. And then you're thinking about what unexpected things may happen, and you'll be amazed at what positive things you begin to notice. Now, again, that adds more things to be grateful for. Now, unexpected things could be surprised by something that doesn't feel as good. But when you're in the framework of gratitude, that can benefit you because you'll then take it as feedback rather than as a failure or a confrontation or anything else that you might have thought it would have been. And you get to take the situation that was unexpected and then see the value of receiving the feedback and then knowing what you can do differently. Right? What can I'm really questioning what you can learn from it so that you don't have to repeat it. Once you've kind of accomplished most of your day, the next question you're going to ask, and usually this is just picked up one more time throughout the night, when you catalog these 3 unexpected things that happen, you'll write down the biggest success you had with gratitude and positivity. There'll be one thing that stands out. Now, some people call it a God shot. Other people call it just your win, your biggest win of the day. Whatever it is that you call it, write down that one success you had that with gratitude and positivity, something that really worked out well in your favor. If the universe is conspiring for your benefit, then it's evidence. You're looking for evidence that the universe has conspired in your benefit, and that's the evidence. So another one is think about and really write down, even if it's just a word, how you feel. What's a feeling you noticed while focusing on gratitude and positivity? As you dig into that in thought, now we've taken more time talking about this than it would take you to actually do this. So we're taking you're gaining the time of having it explained and sitting in and breathing into the explanation of it and accepting. If you take a breath in and just accept the ease and effortlessness of this, and how this accelerates everything that you're doing, and how this leverages positivity into your life, and how this benefits your sense of emotional resourcefulness, you'll realize that a little bit of mental work to think about how you're going to set this process in place goes a long way. So how do you feel when you focus on positive parts of your life? And then what's the most valuable thing you learned that day? What's the number one lesson that you learned that day that you can carry forward to improve your life? Maybe it's something you could do that you want to repeat over and over and over because it was such a good lesson. The last thing is, and this is really, really critical, the last thing is, I will do this in between work and evening. Sometimes I'll do it just after dinner, but I'm doing it at a transition point where I'm wanting to be intentional about how I'm going to end my day. So just how we look at anytime we're closing something out, anytime we're bringing something to an end, prior to it ending, we're looking at how we want to end it in regards to how we're already going to start the next session, or the next season, the next whatever. So in this case, it would be the next day, but we do this at year end, just like we're considering mid-year. We're already beginning to look at how we're going to start the next. Plan and put intention towards what you will appreciate when you're going to sleep at night. If you can be clear of what you want to focus on, where you want to attention, calmly focus your brain towards something that you've been grateful for, that you really appreciate, then you're going to have a much more productive sleep in your unconscious mind. When your conscious mind is resting and your body's resting, restoring and healing, and your unconscious mind is in a really fertile ground with that gratitude. Now, talking it out in the course of learning how to do this or considering ways to do this is one thing. It seems to take a little bit of time. Practicing it is actually very fast. The cool part about this is if you think about writing down 3 things a day that you're grateful for and how much time that actually takes. It takes a few minutes to contemplate it. By the time you've contemplated those 3 things, once the door's open, all of the other thoughts come very easily. Right? Once the door's open and you found that thing that you're grateful for, even if it's something really simple, then it's easy to access why you're grateful for it, how you might express it, who you might share something with about it. And then that sets you up to be able to start thinking about, I wonder what unexpected great thing is going to happen today that I can notice. Write the 3 things down, consider it, have it done. Maybe you think about the 3 things and you write at the same time you write it, you're actually writing down how you're going to express it because you include what you're grateful for and how you're going to express it. There's so many ways to make this more efficient. Here's what happens with that gained efficiency. You put time and effort into this of 30 days of thinking of 3 things. what we're hearing in feedback from clients over the last few years as we've done this, and from friends and from everyone else we've shared it with, is that it's anywhere between 3 and at the most 7 days that someone is experiencing the results of a significant change in their attitude, their feelings of accomplishment, their happiness, everything. They're having a significant, noticeable change in how they feel emotionally and how resourceful they feel within 3 to 7 days. Now, and I don't have an average on it, but it's more on the 3 to 5 days. But there are some people that, for whatever reason, they say it takes them 7, or they just think, well, it seemed to me to be a week. So to be conservative, we're saying 3 to 7 days. In my book, that's a 10 times gain, because traditionally as well, you might realize that if it's going to take someone a little extra time for it to anchor in, these things are averages anyway. So you get a 10 times leveraging result by focusing with these few extra data points, and you feel better every day. And then consider this. It's not like you're using this to get to a destination. You're using this to increase your sense of emotional resourcefulness. And if there's no limit to that, you may seem to put a limit on how happy you could feel, or how satisfied you could feel, how grateful you could feel. And I'm here to tell you there is no limit that you can put on it. That is Gratitude of Champions. We are going to be putting some things out on different platforms as far as making this accessible to people. There's no charge for it. We'd love to hear your feedback. Take it for proving. Don't take my word for it. You take this for proving and see how you feel. It is a key element to getting your physiology right. If you're trying to jump into a new behavior with something in the gym, or something in some type of physical activity, or stopping something that you would prefer not to have in your life, anything that you're doing, this increase of gratitude makes it absolutely that much more effective and easy to do. It's an absolute booster of energy, and your capabilities go through the roof. If you don't have any limitations put on the amount of energy you could have, and if it's true that there's an infinite amount of resource of all your needs, if your needs are met from an infinite resource, then the only thing that's putting a limit on it is the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, and the way you're behaving, the choices you're making. And the most unique thing about you is how you approach things, your perception of things, and the choices you make. Increase your gratitude by adding some touch points. Make it your own. Add half of these things. Add all of these things, or even add a few more, and see how quickly you can have an extremely positive experience to this. And let's get on the right side of the world and make sure that we're moving forward in the joy that we deserve and that you deserve. Because you deserve to feel joy. You deserve to feel happiness, and you deserve to live a fulfilled life, as everyone does. That's it for today. Peace out.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.